Hello there, and welcome to the Night Notes channel. I'm so glad you found your way here. Maybe today felt heavy. Maybe your thoughts have been running too fast to quiet. Or maybe, like me, you're the kind of soul who falls asleep not to silence, but to wonder. Either way, tonight's story is yours. You have nothing to do but rest, nothing to prove, nothing to fix. Let your breathing slow. Let your shoulders soften and imagine gravity easing its grip, as if the universe itself has decided to hold you a little more gently. Because tonight, we're not just drifting into sleep. We're traveling outward past the noise of cities, past the orbit of the moon, past even the warmth of the sun, into the quiet heart of our galaxy, the Milky Way, a luminous river of over 100 billion stars, each one older than every story humanity has ever told. It has been turning in space for more than 13 billion years, slowly, patiently, beautifully. But beneath all that light lie questions so deep, they almost ache to be asked. Why does the universe expand faster than it should? Why do galaxies form too soon and black holes too old whisper from the dark? And what does it mean when the cosmos begins to disobey the rules it wrote for itself? Tonight we'll wander through those mysteries together softly, curiously, the way you trace a finger through candlelight without needing to understand the flame. So close your eyes and let the stars take their place behind them. You're safe here. You're infinite here. You're home in the quiet between thought and dream. If you could hold the universe in your hands, it wouldn't be solid or still. It would be breathing. Every second space itself stretches not like an explosion, but like an endless sigh. A slow, invisible pulse that began 13.8 billion years ago and has never stopped since. Scientists call it cosmic expansion. But I think of it as the universe learning how to exhale. In the beginning, if we can call it that, there was nowhere for things to exist, no when for time to pass. Just an ocean of potential. Too dense, too hot, too bright for anything to be separate. Then something extraordinary happened. Space began to grow faster than light could move through it. It wasn't the light that raced outward, it was the stage itself, the very fabric of reality stretching open to make room for everything that would ever be. Every galaxy, every atom, every heartbeat was written into that first expansion. You and I are still part of that motion, particles of awareness carried outward on a tide of time. But here's where the story bends. When astronomers measured how fast this expansion is happening, the numbers refused to agree. One rhythm from nearby galaxies, another from the ancient afterglow of the Big Bang. It's as if the universe is breathing with two lungs, one fast, one slow, and the air between them hums with something unknown. They call it the Hubble tension, but it feels more like a heartbeat with a secret. Perhaps space isn't expanding evenly at all. Perhaps it moves in waves, like sound through air, like emotion through memory. Maybe we're standing inside a song so vast we can only hear one note at a time. Some scientists whisper about dark energy, a mysterious force pushing galaxies apart with a strength that seems to grow as the universe ages. It acts everywhere on everything, but reveals itself nowhere. What if dark energy is the voice of the universe itself, the echo of its first words still ringing through the halls of time? You can feel it if you're quiet. That strange pulling sensation when you look at the night sky and realize the stars aren't just far away, they're leaving. Every second space expands between us and them, stretching light into color, into silence. It sounds lonely, doesn't it? But maybe it isn't. Maybe expansion is how the universe remembers to love itself, by giving everything room to exist, by never letting closeness become confinement. You are part of that same motion. Every breath you take is a small reflection of the cosmos inhaling and exhaling. Every heartbeat echoes the pulse of a galaxy turning. So if tonight you feel small, remember, smallness is just another word for participation. You're not outside the vastness. You are the vastness momentarily shaped into the form of a listener. The stars don't just shine for you. They shine with you. The light stretched across time is still whispering the same story. We are expanding. We are learning to sing. And we have only just begun. There's a kind of silence that only exists at the edge of time. The moment just after darkness learned how to glow. James Webb peers into that silence, not as a telescope, but as a memory machine reaching backward through the oldest light the universe still remembers. And in that ancient twilight, it has found something impossible. Galaxies, fully formed, luminous, alive, appearing far too early in the story. They shine from a time when the universe was only a child, barely 3% of its current age. They should have been tiny sparks, still learning how to gather dust and gas into form. Instead, Webb found giants, mature galaxies filled with billions of stars, spinning with grace in the newborn dark. To human eyes, they look like miracles. To science, they look like contradictions. How could such vast structures exist when there hadn't been enough time for them to grow? It's like discovering an oak tree in a forest where acorns have only just fallen. Some call them universe breakers, as if their existence shatters the logic of cosmic evolution. But maybe what's breaking isn't the universe. Maybe it's our understanding of beginnings. We once believed creation followed order, that stars formed first, then galaxies, then worlds, and finally us. A patient unfolding of cause and effect. But these ancient galaxies tell another story, one where complexity arrived early, as if the cosmos was in a hurry to become beautiful. Maybe the universe isn't a classroom. Maybe it's an artist. And sometimes art refuses to wait for permission. Imagine the first atoms cooling after the Big Bang, hydrogen and helium swirling in invisible patterns. Then somewhere in that chaos, gravity hummed a note so deep, it gathered light to itself. The first stars ignited, and with them came the first shadows. Every galaxy Webb sees from that epoch is a fossil of that initial song, proof that even in its infancy the universe knew how to dream big. Still, the mystery remains. How did so much structure appear so soon? Some scientists whisper of hidden physics forces we've never named, dark matter, weaving faster gravity, bending in ways we don't yet understand. But maybe in a quieter sense, this discovery is an invitation to remember that time itself is not what we think it is. that in the beginning moments didn't pass one after another. They existed all at once like light trapped in crystal. When we look at these ancient galaxies, we aren't seeing the past. We're seeing the universe as it still is, a mosaic of overlapping eternities, each shining from a different angle of forever. So as you drift closer to sleep, imagine those galaxies still turning slowly and silently in the background hum of reality. They don't know you're watching, but somehow you are written into their light. In every story, there is a silence that hides the secret. In the story of the universe, that silence is black. Black holes, not holes at all, but wounds in space where gravity has collapsed inward and time itself forgets how to move. They were supposed to be the final act, the graves of massive stars formed only after generations of creation and death. But James Webb has seen something far stranger. Black holes that are too old, too massive, too alone. They shine from the first dawn of time, when stars had barely begun to burn. And yet, they carry the weight of 50 million suns. They have no galaxies to anchor them, no halos of starlight to call home. Just empty dark and the faint glow of matter being devoured. To find them, there is to find a shadow older than the light itself. Scientists call them primordial black holes, as if the universe might have been born with scars already written across its skin. One of them drifts in solitude, a wanderer with no orbit, no companion, its hunger eternal. It swallows the past and bends the future, a gravity so pure that even thought can't escape its pull. How could such a thing exist when the first stars hadn't yet died? The equations shake their heads. The models fall silent. Maybe these black holes were born directly from the collapse of immense gas clouds bypassing the rules we know. Or maybe, and this thought makes even physicists whisper, they are relics from before the beginning. Fragments of a previous universe, echoes of a creation that ended so another could begin. If that's true, then each of these wanderers is a fossil of eternity, a seed carried forward through cosmic death into a new unfolding dream. I like to think of them not as destroyers, but as librarians, keeping everything they consume, the light, the atoms, the memories, somewhere beyond, reach somewhere the universe itself might someday retrieve. Because even oblivion has purpose, even the void can keep a promise. Maybe the black holes that shouldn't exist are reminders that not all endings are final, that sometimes, to preserve the story, the universe hides a few pages inside its own shadow. And when we look up into that dark velvet sky, we are not staring into emptiness. We are looking into the memory of creation folded in on itself, waiting for the next breath. So if you ever feel yourself drifting, lost, unseen, untethered, remember there are wanderers out there too, carrying ancient light in their silence. And somehow, the universe keeps them. Somewhere in the deep dark sea of space, two galaxies are moving toward each other. They do not rush or crash. They drift slowly, majestically, like two great tides converging on a quiet shore. For millions of years, their spiral arms have stretched farther and farther, reaching out like hands that cannot help but touch. And when they finally meet, they do not end. They become. James Webb has seen them. Two luminous disks intertwined their cores, glowing red through a veil of hydrogen gas, forming a shape that looks like the number 8. Astronomers call it the infinity galaxy. It is a collision, yes, but it is also a creation. You might imagine such an encounter to be violent, a cosmic catastrophe of shattered stars and broken worlds. But in truth, the universe is quieter than that. Galaxies are mostly emptiness. When they merge, their stars slip past each other like ghosts, barely touching their orbits, slowly rethreading into new patterns. In the heart of this particular collision, something extraordinary is happening. Between the two galactic cores, a third presence has appeared, a massive black hole suspended between them, like a judge between two kingdoms of light. It should not exist there. By every law of gravity, it should have fallen toward one side or the other. Yet, it hovers balanced perfectly, feeding on streams of gas flowing between the galaxies like a flame sustained by two winds. Scientists call this process direct collapse, where an ocean of gas becomes so dense that it falls into itself, skipping the step of stars entirely. A black hole, born not from death, but from sheer weight, the gravity of potential, made real. It's strange to think that destruction and creation can share the same face. That the space between two galaxies, a region of chaos and collision, could also be a cradle. But that's the way of things, isn't it? When lives or stars or even galaxies intertwine, the result is rarely tidy. Yet, from that tangle, new forms emerge more beautiful than either could be alone. Perhaps you've felt something like that too. The pull of another life's gravity, the fear of losing your shape, and the quiet miracle of becoming something larger than yourself. The Infinity Twins remind us that the universe doesn't fear collision. It needs it. Every dance of destruction is also an act of remembrance matter, remembering where it came from and what it still can be. So when galaxies collide, they don't die. They compose. And somewhere in the silent rhythm of their meeting, a black hole begins to hum the deep note of transformation itself. If you close your eyes and breathe, you might hear that hum inside you too. A quiet infinity turning endlessly between what you were and what you are still becoming. Not every world belongs to a star. Some are born and then abandoned. They drift through the interstellar dark, their orbits broke in their skies forever, without sunrise. Astronomers call them rogue planets, but that word feels too wild, too human. They are not rebels. They are orphans. James Webb has found hundreds of them, massive silent spheres wandering through the Orion Nebula like lost lanterns, each roughly the size of Jupiter, each alone. And yet, not quite. Many of them travel in pairs, two worlds locked in one another's gravity, spinning together through endless night. It shouldn't be possible. Planets are supposed to orbit stars born from the disks of gas that surround young suns. To find pairs of them drifting alone is to find a lullaby without a singer, a harmony without an origin. And yet, there they are. Two small globes circling each other in the emptiness between stars. Astronomers call them Jupiter mass binary objects, but the name can't capture what they really are: companions against the void. Two exiles keeping each other warm through the cold eternity of space. Even stranger, some of these pairs are whispering. They emit faint radio signals, bursts of energy, too regular, too precise, to be mere noise. Not messages, not music, something in between. It's believed these signals come from magnetic fields rubbing together as the planets spin and orbit, their invisible lines of force twisting like strings until they sing. in radio light. If you could listen with cosmic ears, you'd hear it a crackling hum, low and mournful, like the echo of waves on a shore that no longer exists. No one knows how these orphan worlds were made. Perhaps they were cast out of their home systems by the violence of gravity flung into the dark when stars collided or died. Perhaps some never had homes at all, formed from the dust that never found a sun to serve. Whatever their origin, they remind us that isolation can also be motion, that even in exile, there is rhythm, orbit pattern, and grace. Two wandering worlds dancing forever around each other in the dark between stars. It's a sad thought, but also a strangely tender one, because in their endless drifting, they carry something of us, our longing for connection, our search for light, our quiet defiance of the empty. Perhaps that's why Webb can see them at all, because the universe too loves a story of survival. So as you lie here floating on your own small world tonight, remember, you're part of that same dance and orbit through the quiet, a motion through the infinite. And even if no sun were to rise tomorrow, your light would still travel on. There's a certain kind of beauty in things that shouldn't exist. In errors so elegant, they start to make their own kind of sense. James Webb once turned its gaze toward a young star in the nebula called NGC 6357, a place so full of light and shadow that astronomers call it the War and Peace Nebula. But what Webb found there wasn't conflict. It was confusion. Around that young star was a ring, a planet-forming disk, the kind of cradle where new worlds are born. Dust, gas, ice, slowly gathering, colliding, becoming. But this disk was wrong. All wrong. The region where rocky planets should be taking shape the same distance from the star where Earth once formed contained almost no water. Instead, it was thick with carbon dioxide, a dry carbon-rich nursery where no ocean could ever dream itself into being. By every rule of planetary chemistry, this shouldn't happen. Water is everywhere, frozen in comets' vapor, in clouds, woven into the breath of creation itself. But not here. Not in this strange, inverted cradle. It's as though the universe forgot its own recipe and decided to try something new. Perhaps the star's ultraviolet light was too fierce, burning the water away before it could hide in dust or ice. Perhaps the nebula itself was tainted, born from the ashes of stars that lived and died in carbon fire. Whatever the reason, the result is a new kind of world, a planet that will form not from water and rock, but from carbon and air. Imagine such a world. Skies of red smoke, seas of liquid methane, mountains black as coal, shimmering faintly under the light of the young star. A world that burns instead of breathes. Alive, but not as we understand life. It's unsettling and beautiful. Because what this discovery really tells us is that the universe is not limited by imagination, not even ours. It creates without apology, without repetition, without need for permission. Every strange world Webb finds is another verse in the same quiet poem. There is more than one way to exist, and maybe that's true for us too. Maybe there are lives like planets that form under wrong conditions, too little light, too much fire, and still find a way to shine. So if tonight you feel out of place, misbuilt, imperfect, remember the carbon worlds. Remember the beauty of being wrong. Because somewhere in the dark, a new planet is taking shape from impossible dust, and even the stars don't know what to call it yet. There are places in the universe where the idea of impossible no longer applies. Places so extreme, so close to their stars that the line between matter and fire begins to blur. James Webb has seen one of these worlds, a planet called 55 Cancri, a sphere so scorched that the stones beneath its skies are liquid. It orbits its star once every 18 hours, a year that lasts less than a single sleep. One side faces the star forever bathed in eternal day, where temperatures rise above 4,000 degrees. The other side lies in endless night, a black desert, frozen in silence. And yet, somehow this world still breathes. Webb found evidence of an atmosphere, a thin veil of carbon and metal gases circling a planet that should have long ago been stripped bare by its sun's fury. It's as though the planet refuses to surrender, as though even in hell it insists on weather. Imagine standing there if you could. The horizon glowing orange-white, the air trembling with heat, winds screaming at thousands of miles per hour, carrying vaporized rock from the day side to the night side, where it condenses and falls as rain, made of molten stone, a cycle of creation and annihilation forever repeating. The crust boils, the atmosphere burns, and yet the system holds together, a balance carved out of chaos. Scientists believe the atmosphere isn't ancient, it's new, reborn every moment as the planet's interior releases gases to replace what the sun destroys. Like a phoenix made of carbon, it loses itself to heat, only to remake itself again and again. A world of fire that refuses to die. When I think about that, it doesn't feel like science anymore. It feels like survival. Maybe this planet isn't a punishment. Maybe it's a teacher reminding us that balance isn't always calm, that life in all its forms is often just persistence against impossible odds. Every atom of your body has known that heat before, forged in stars, tempered in explosions, drifted through nebulae for billions of years before finding its way into you. You are made of the same courage that keeps a molten planet spinning around its merciless sun. So when the day feels too bright or the night too cold, remember this: even in the universe's most violent places, something still endures. Something still breathes. Something still becomes beautiful. The sky may burn, the stones may melt, but the story continues, written in light, read in silence. Every so often, something visits, not from our solar system, not from any place we know, but from somewhere far older. A shard of time, a frozen traveler gliding through darkness like a message in a bottle thrown across the sea of stars. Astronomers call it Comet 3I Atlas. It's small, only a few miles wide, a mix of rock and ancient ice. But its story is larger than any planet it passes, because this comet is older than the sun. 7 billion years old, 3 billion years before Earth, before our oceans, before even our Milky Way settled into its spiral. Webb followed its path as it cut through the solar system, a silent visitor from the deep time of another world. Its orbit was strange, its speed unreal, more than 100,000 miles per hour, too fast to ever be captured by our gravity. It will pass through, once burn briefly in our light, and then vanish back into the void. Inside its icy core, Webb's instruments found something unexpected: carbon dioxide, not water like most comets from our solar system. This tells us something profound. It was born in a place where chemistry played by different rules, a solar system long dead, its star perhaps burned away or exploded. So this comet has been traveling ever since, a remnant of a story that ended billions of years ago. And now, by some cosmic coincidence, it drifts past our own living sun, a ghost meeting its descendant. If you listen closely, you can almost feel the melancholy of it, the way it glows for a moment and then is gone, leaving only a thin trail of light and a question that no one can answer. How many more are out there? Perhaps hundreds, perhaps millions. Silent wanderers, pieces of forgotten systems passing through our skies every century, each carrying whispers of their own beginnings. It's easy to see ourselves in them, isn't it? Moving through time, carrying fragments of lost worlds within us, our memories, our stories, our ancient dust. Maybe that's what life really is, a journey through borrowed sunlight, a brief warming before the long return to dark. And maybe there's comfort in that, because even when this comet fades, its particles will remain, joining our dust, our oceans, our air. Its story will merge with ours, and one day some other traveler will read it in the light. We are not separate from the wanderers. We are made of them. The same cosmic ice, the same quiet longing, the same beautiful impermanence. So if you see a streak of light across the night sky, know this: it is not just a comet. It is a memory returning home. There is a kind of light that hides. Not the blinding light of stars, but a deeper glow, soft, ancient, the color of time itself. When James Webb opened its eyes to the first billion years of creation, it saw something no one expected. 300 tiny red dots scattered across the cosmic canvas like embers from a forgotten fire, each one pulsing faintly in the endless dark. At first, scientists thought they were errors, echoes of data, reflections of brighter things nearby. But as Webb looked again, the dots remained, still red, still impossibly bright. No one knows what they are. They could be galaxies, but they are too luminous for their size, too powerful for their youth. They could be black holes, but their light spreads too wide, their energy too constant. They are something else. When Webb's instruments measured their glow, it found a strange pattern, a balance of heat and distance that doesn't fit any law we know. They shine as though powered by a kind of physics we have yet to name. Some call them little red dots, a simple name for something that might rewrite reality. If they are galaxies, then galaxies were forming faster than our universe should allow. If they are black holes, then black holes can radiate without consuming. If they are neither, then perhaps they are the fingerprints of a stage of creation we have never seen before. Imagine that the early universe, not empty, but alive, with glowing cells like the neurons of a cosmic brain, flickering into awareness. Patterns, repeating connections, forming complexity, awakening long before stars or planets existed. Maybe those red dots aren't distant objects at all, but moments. Flashes in time where the laws of reality tried different versions of themselves before choosing the one we live in. There is something tender about that thought, that the universe once experimented like a painter testing colors on the edge of a canvas before creating the masterpiece. When Webb looks at those red lights, it's not just seeing the past, it's witnessing the first hesitation of existence, the tremor before certainty, the breath before structure, the instant before the word yes. And maybe that's why we find them so haunting, because they remind us of something deep within ourselves, those moments when we too are caught between becoming and being, when we flicker red with potential before choosing a path. So tonight, as you drift towards sleep, imagine those ancient dots still glowing, each one a heartbeat from the dawn of everything. The universe began, not with silence but with scattered light, a constellation of maybes that became all that is. And somehow, in that shimmering uncertainty, you were already written there, a note in the melody of red. Sometimes the universe does something so strange that it feels like a secret meant to be overheard. James Webb saw one of those secrets, and it changed how we think about motion itself. Across unimaginable distances, millions of light years apart galaxies are spinning in the same direction. Each one a vast spiral of stars and dust, turning silently through the black, yet all of them somehow aligned. It shouldn't be possible. Gravity cannot reach that far. Chance cannot coordinate such grace. And yet, there it is, a cosmic choreography so vast, it humbles every equation. Astronomers call it galactic coherence. But it feels more like rhythm, the heartbeat of the universe echoing across eternity. Imagine looking at a field of galaxies, each one separated by millions of light years, and realizing they all spin like dancers who have never met, but share the same invisible music. Why? Some say the universe itself may be rotating, turning slowly like a giant storm. Others whisper that we might be living inside the event horizon of a greater reality, a black hole so immense that everything we call space is just the inside of its falling light. If that sounds unsettling, it is. But it's also beautiful, because what Webb may have found isn't disorder, but connection. Even across impossible distance, the galaxies move as one, as if every atom of the universe still remembers the same first spin, the original momentum from the dawn of time. Maybe creation was never random. Maybe it began with a single swirl of energy that rippled outward and never stopped. And if that's true, then every motion from the orbit of a planet to the rise of your chest as you breathe is part of that same rotation. You are turning too. You may not feel it, but you are moving through space at hundreds of thousands of miles per hour, around the Earth, around the Sun, around the galaxy, around something larger still. Every breath you take is aligned with the motion of stars. Every thought you have is carried on the current of a cosmic spiral. We are not standing still. We never were. The galaxies that spin together are not breaking the rules. They are reminding us that the universe does not separate itself. It only appears that way to minds too small to see the pattern. So as you rest tonight, imagine that vast rotation continuing slow, eternal. The quiet motion that binds everything. The galaxies spin, the stars orbit, the planets drift, and through it all, the universe hums. One simple truth: nothing truly moves alone. Not everything in the universe is rushing outward. Somewhere in the deep night, amid the cosmic storms and violent births, there are places where time seems to stop. James Webb found them vast galaxies, heavy with stars, but eerily silent. They do not blaze with new light. They do not form new suns. They simply drift ancient, complete asleep. Astronomers call them quenched galaxies, but that word feels too clinical, too cold. They are more like sleeping giants, still magnificent, but dreaming instead of building. According to everything we know, these galaxies should be alive with creation. The early universe was rich with gas, with energy, with every ingredient for endless star birth. And yet, these giants stopped. It's as if they looked at their reflection in the dark and decided enough. No one knows what silenced them. Perhaps their central black holes, those gravitational hearts, grew so powerful that their energy heated all surrounding gas, making new stars impossible. Or perhaps they simply burned too brightly, too quickly, using up their resources before the universe had learned how to pace itself. Either way, they are monuments to endings that came too soon. Vast spirals of starlight turned into frozen cathedrals, their halls filled with ghosts of brilliance past. And yet, there's a strange peace in their stillness. Not failure, not tragedy, just rest. Maybe the universe too needs to sleep. To pause between breaths, between creations, between the chaos of its own becoming. Maybe these galaxies aren't mistakes at all, but reminders that even on a cosmic scale, rest is sacred. It's easy to forget that, isn't it? We are always expanding faster, louder, further chasing our own versions of light. But there's wisdom in the galaxies that stopped. They remind us that silence is part of growth and that creation is only half the story. If you look closely, their stars still glow, not gone, just dimmed to a quiet shimmer as if exhaling after eons of brilliance. They have nothing left to prove. They simply are. And maybe that's the truest kind of existence, to shine without striving to float, without fear, to rest in one's own gravity. So tonight, as you slow your breath, imagine drifting beside one of those sleeping giants. A galaxy of 1 trillion suns cradled in the stillness between moments. You are small beside it, yes, but not separate. You too are made of starlight, learning how to rest. If you could step far enough back beyond galaxies, beyond clusters, you'd see that the universe is not empty. It's woven. Filaments of gas and dark matter stretch across the cosmos like threads of silk spun through infinity, a great invisible network binding everything together. Astronomers call it the cosmic web. And when James Webb turned its gaze into those filaments, it found something unexpected, something alive. Magnetic fields, ancient, complex, older than any galaxy, older than the first stars. Not the weak, simple fields we see on Earth, but vast, intricate patterns stretching across millions of light years, curving, looping, connecting clusters like neurons in a brain. At first, the data seemed impossible. Magnetic fields are supposed to form after stars generated by rotation and plasma grown slowly over time. But these fields predate everything, as if the universe itself was born already wired for connection. The more scientists studied the data, the stranger it became. The magnetic filaments weren't random. They pulsed, they branched, they carried structure nodes, links, Symmetry, the same mathematical patterns used to describe human neural networks. Think about that for a moment. Across a scale of billions of light years, the universe carries a pattern eerily similar to the one inside your mind. When you think, neurons spark in waves of energy and light. When galaxies form, filaments of magnetism do the same. Perhaps it's only coincidence, or perhaps it's a clue that consciousness and cosmos are not separate phenomena but reflections of the same deep geometry. Maybe the universe doesn't think the way we do, but maybe it remembers. Every field, every line, a trace of the forces that once sculpted everything. A memory that never fades. The stars, the galaxies, even the empty space between, all part of one grand circuitry, an ancient pulse still resonating through time. It's humbling, isn't it? To realize that the same quiet electricity that dances in your brain is the same that hums between galaxies. You are not outside that web. You are a single spark within it, a thought the universe is having about itself. When you wonder, when you dream, when you listen to the silence of the night, you are continuing that ancient process, the cosmos, folding back into awareness. Maybe that's what evolution truly is, the universe learning to recognize its own reflection in a set of curious eyes. So tonight, as you breathe and drift, imagine yourself suspended in that web, a filament of energy glowing softly in the dark. Every heartbeat, every thought sending ripples through the fabric of creation. And somewhere far beyond the stars, the universe listens and answers back. At the center of our galaxy, hidden behind clouds of dust and light, years of silence, there lies a presence. A single point of gravity so powerful that space itself curves around it like fabric, pulled taut. Astronomers call it Sagittarius A, a black hole, 4 million times the mass of our sun. Quiet, patient, the still heart of the Milky Way. For decades, we thought we knew its story. It was supposed to be steady, a cold anchor holding our galaxy together. But when James Webb turned its gaze that way, the darkness began to move. Flickers of light, rhythms without rhythm, a pulse irregular and wild like a heartbeat that doesn't know its own tempo. Every few minutes, the glow around Sagittarius A brightens and fades as if it were breathing in the dust of creation and exhaling light. No pattern, no predictability, just a living chaos at the edge of space-time. The light comes from the accretion disk, a swirling storm of gas spiraling into oblivion, heated to millions of degrees. Every flare Webb observes is a burst of energy from matter dancing too close to the event horizon, the point where time stops making sense. But something is wrong. The flares are too intense, too frequent, as though the black hole is resonating with something deeper, something beneath physics itself. Scientists call it turbulence. I call it a reminder that even in darkness there is motion. Even in gravity's silence, there is a pulse. Some think it's magnetic storms fields, twisting, snapping, creating flashes of light in regions where light should not exist. Others whisper of quantum effects, the smallest particles flickering in and out of existence at the edge of reality's patience. Whatever it is, it behaves like music. A low, endless bass line that carries through the galaxy, so faint we cannot hear it, only sense it. And maybe that's what gravity really is, the sound of the universe remembering itself. Because this black hole, this beating shadow at the heart of everything, isn't just devouring. It's conducting, holding every orbit, every star, every motion in a silent harmony. You are part of that rhythm. Every atom in your body is tracing an invisible circle around this same black heart. You are moving slowly, beautifully, within its song. Sometimes when life feels chaotic, when you can't find your center, it helps to remember this. There is a center. It's real. It's ancient. It's still there, pulsing in the dark, keeping everything bound together. We are orbiting our heartbeat of darkness, and somehow it keeps time with our own. Most of the universe is invisible, not dark in color, but dark in truth. The stars, the planets, the light we see, they're only a fraction of what's real. The rest, about 85%, is made of something we cannot touch, cannot see, cannot name. We call it dark matter. A phrase so simple it hides the terror of our ignorance. For years, scientists thought dark matter was calm, a silent scaffolding holding galaxies together like invisible glue. But when James Webb looked deeper into the collisions of galaxy clusters, it saw something else, something violent. Galaxies were being torn apart, stars ripped from their homes, streams of light twisting through space like torn silk. And at the heart of the chaos, no visible cause, no explosion, no radiation, no light. Only the gravitational echo of something massive and unseen, dark matter itself, moving, colliding, fighting back. It seems the universe's hidden half is not so passive after all. It interacts, it reacts, it reshapes reality without ever revealing its face. Webb's images showed ribbons of starlight stretching for millions of light years, as if galaxies were being shredded by invisible hands. It's easy to forget that gravity has no morality. It doesn't build or destroy. It simply follows the path of mass, even if that mass is unseen. Some researchers think dark matter might have its own physics, a mirror version of the universe where unknown particles collide and radiate through forces we cannot yet detect. Others wonder if we've misunderstood everything, if dark matter is just our word for holes in a deeper structure of space itself. Either way, these collisions are more than cosmic violence. They are creation in motion. When galaxies tear apart, their shredded stars form bridges, vast glowing arteries connecting systems across the void. Even destruction here becomes architecture. And maybe that's how the universe evolves, not by design but by tension, by unseen forces pulling and shaping until something new appears. We live within that same tension, don't we? Invisible pressures, invisible collisions, the things that change us but never announce themselves. Sometimes what feels like ruin is just rearrangement. Sometimes the invisible hand is not punishment but pattern. Dark matter may be unknowable, but its fingerprints are everywhere. In the spin of our galaxy, in the pull of our bodies toward the earth, in the quiet order beneath chaos. It is the unseen architecture of everything, a reminder that even what we cannot see is shaping us always. So tonight, as you drift between waking and sleep, imagine those invisible collisions still unfolding across the universe. Silent wars that build new worlds. Hidden hands weaving galaxies. Darkness that creates light. And perhaps in your own hidden collisions, in the quiet battles, no one else can see, you are building galaxies too. Sometimes to understand the universe, you have to watch it fold. Light, that faithful traveler, does not always move in straight lines. When it meets great mass, space itself curves, and light follows the curve like a river bends around stone. This is gravitational lensing, a strange gift from Einstein's imagination, proof that gravity is not just force, but geometry. James Webb found one of the most dramatic lenses yet, a galaxy so heavy, so dense, that its gravity warped the space around it like a mirror made of liquid glass. Behind it, a smaller distant galaxy shimmered, and something impossible appeared. The same galaxy, seen multiple times in different places and at different moments in its own history. 4 reflections of one reality. 4 versions of the same light, each taking a different path through space-time. Webb was not just seeing distance, it was seeing time itself, stacked like pages in a book that the universe had left slightly open. One image showed the background galaxy as it was nearly 1 billion years ago. Another showed it 200 million years younger. Each curve of bent light, a frozen memory still making its way toward us. To look at it is to realize that the universe never truly forgets. Every photon carries history, and sometimes gravity catches it and holds it up for us to see again, like a cosmic photograph developed slowly across eternity. But the deeper Webb looked, the stranger it became. The distortions were too sharp. The mass needed to cause them was far greater than what could be accounted for by visible stars or dust. Dark matter again, that silent sculptor woven through the lensing galaxy in dense knots, far stronger than theory allows. Reality itself was being bent by something unseen. It's unsettling, but also beautiful, isn't it? That light born billions of years ago in another corner of the cosmos has been traveling all this time through emptiness, through warps, through gravity wells, just to end up here in your eyes tonight. You are witnessing echoes of moments that ended long before life began on Earth. And yet, they are still here, still speaking. Maybe that's what time really is, not a line, but a conversation between what was and what still remembers. Every ray of light that reaches you is a message that never gave up. A traveler that refused to fade even as space stretched and cooled around it. So the next time you look at the night sky, remember, you're not just seeing stars. You're seeing the past folded into the present. You're seeing persistence written in photons. The universe bends light, but never breaks it. And neither should you. Not every light in the sky shines alone. Some stars are bound together, partners in gravity, locked in orbits that last for millions of years. But love, even among stars, can turn violent. James Webb has seen it: binary systems where one star begins to feed on the other, drawing its atmosphere inward like silk, unraveling into fire. It's called stellar cannibalism, a phrase both terrible and intimate. 2 suns born side by side, and one grows hungry. The larger of the pair, when it nears the end of its life, swells into a red giant so vast that its outer layers spill across the gap and fall toward its smaller companion. Streams of gas flow between them, a river of fire connecting 2 dying hearts. For a time, it's almost beautiful, a bridge of light spanning the dark between worlds. But eventually, the smaller star begins to drown in what it consumes. The feeding accelerates. The flow becomes a storm. And when the smaller star can take no more, it erupts. A nova, a brief, blinding flash that outshines entire galaxies. For a few hours or days, the sky remembers it. And then, silence. It's easy to think of this as tragedy. one star destroying another. But it's not so simple. That final act, that violent exchange creates heavy elements, carbon, oxygen, gold. The very ingredients of life itself. Every breath you take, every cell in your body was forged from such moments, from stars that consumed, that died, that gave their ashes to the next generation. Webb's instruments have captured entire sequences of this dance matter streaming in luminous arcs, shock waves rippling through nebulae, the birth of new chemistry amid annihilation. It is death as creation, fire as gift, and perhaps there's something human in that. How we too consume our moments, our memories, our pain, turning them into the light we carry forward. We are built from collisions, from endings that became beginnings. Every heartbreak, every loss, every letting go, a small nova in the long story of becoming. The stars do it too. When you look up at the night sky, remember that many of those gentle points of light are the afterglows of devouring, acts of hunger that gave birth to beauty. It's not destruction you're seeing, it's transformation. The universe does not waste what it consumes, and neither should we. There are moments when the cosmos feels fragile, as if the fabric holding it all together is only pretending to be whole. James Webb has seen those moments. Tiny distortions in gravity, flickers of light that shouldn't be possible, ripples in the silence of the vacuum. For centuries, we have treated space-time as a smooth surface, elastic, yes, but perfect in its continuity. Einstein imagined it as a fabric, something that could bend and stretch, but never tear. And yet, Webb's deep surveys suggest that even reality has limits. Light, passing near massive galaxies, arrives slightly offbeat, as if the space it traveled through wasn't quite consistent, a stutter in the geometry of existence. Astronomers call them gravitational anomalies, subtle, persistent, tiny deviations from what general relativity predicts. They could be errors, they could be noise, or they could be the first evidence that the universe is not as seamless as it appears. Some physicists whisper of cosmic strings, thin, one-dimensional scars left over from the Big Bang. Relics from a time when the universe was still hot and violent, its structure hardening like cooling glass. Imagine space itself cracking in the first instant of existence, those fractures freezing into filaments that now stretch across the cosmos, billions of light years long. If they exist, they are wounds that never healed fault lines in reality. And there's something else. In certain regions of space, Webb has detected faint glows, not from stars, not from gas, but from nothing. Energy without origin, like the vacuum itself is bleeding. It may be quantum foam, the seething chaos that underlies everything, bubbling up into visibility where gravity presses too hard. The boundary between the infinite and the impossible is thinner than we thought. If these anomalies are real, it means that space-time isn't stable. It trembles. It fluctuates. It remembers the violence of its own birth. And perhaps so do we. Our lives too are made of seams and fractures, moments that don't quite line up, memories that warp and double back. We like to think of reality as whole, but it's the cracks that let the light escape. Maybe the universe isn't broken, maybe it's becoming. Every distortion Webb sees is another note in a cosmic symphony too vast for us to hear in fuller harmony between creation and decay. So when your world feels unstable, when things don't make sense, remember, even space itself shivers at the edge of understanding. And yet, somehow, it still holds. The stars do not fall through the cracks, they shine through them. There's a question so strange, it feels like a riddle whispered by the stars themselves. What if the universe we see isn't outside anything at all? What if it's inside, not a metaphor, a structure, a black hole so vast that everything we call reality exists within its event horizon? It sounds like science fiction, and yet the mathematics works. The theory is called black hole cosmology, and it's as haunting as it is beautiful. Here's how it begins. Every black hole has an outer boundary, the event horizon, the point beyond which nothing, not even light, can escape. From the outside, that's where everything ends. But from the inside, time and space could continue. Some physicists believe that when matter collapses into a black hole, it doesn't disappear. It explodes inward, creating a new region of space-time, a new universe sealed off from the parent cosmos. Our Big Bang then wasn't the beginning. It was a transition. The moment we crossed a horizon and became our own enclosed infinity. Everything we know, galaxies, stars, life, could be unfolding inside that collapse like light trapped in a dream. And if that's true, then the black holes we observe might be doing the same, each one a doorway, a seed of another cosmos growing quietly inside. A universe of universes. Infinite recursion. Reality folding into itself forever. It's unsettling to think about that we might be trapped inside the shadow of a larger creation, our entire history, just one spark in a chain of falling worlds. But maybe that's not a prison. Maybe it's a pattern, a rhythm of birth and collapse woven into the fabric of existence, a breath the universe takes inward, outward forever. James Webb's data has given subtle hints of this cosmic inheritance, galaxies rotating in the same direction, expansion rates that don't match the strange asymmetries in the cosmic background light. All of them could be echoes of a parent universe's spin, a signature written into our space-time as it unfolded from its origin. If that's true, then our universe is not still. It's falling, slowly, beautifully toward the singularity at its center, a place we will never reach because time itself stretches endlessly as we approach. To an observer outside, we are frozen at the edge of eternity. But to us inside, life goes on. Stars are born, hearts beat, dreams unfold. It's not so different from being human. Is it living inside something vast and invisible, a mystery we cannot escape, but can only experience? And maybe that's the most humbling thought of all, that existence itself might be a kind of recursion. Every life, every thought, another small universe blooming and collapsing in turn. So when you look up at the stars tonight, don't think of them as distant. Think of them as reflections. Each one might be another world's inside-out horizon, shining faintly through the veil. Perhaps all realities touch. Perhaps we're already part of something infinite, a single breath in a cosmos that dreams itself into being again and again and again. Everything fades, even eternity. There will come a night when the stars go out. Not all at once, but one by one, like candles in a cathedral that's run out of prayers. The physicists call it heat death, the quiet end of everything. A time when all energy is spent, when every atom has cooled, and motion itself has forgotten how to move. But long before that stillness, the universe will begin to forget. Galaxies will drift too far apart to see one another. The cosmic web, that vast lattice of light and gravity, will stretch until it unravels. Each island of stars left alone in a sea of dark. Even light will take too long to arrive. Distances will outgrow time. And somewhere on some ancient world orbiting a fading sun, a final observer might look up and see nothing. No Milky Way, no galaxies, just black. To them, the universe will appear empty, and they will never know that it was once radiant and full of song. That thought used to frighten me, but not anymore, because the end is not the same as the absence of meaning. Even when the stars fade, the memory lingers in the atoms they forged in the dust they left behind, in the quiet geometry of what once was. We are part of that memory. Every molecule in your body was written by a dying star. You are made of endings. You are made of light that refuse to disappear. And maybe that's what the universe truly is, not a place but a process of remembering. Each creation, each collapse, each life a way for the cosmos to tell itself again, I was here. I became. I shone. When James Webb looks into deep space, it's not just peering backward in time, it's witnessing memory itself, burning faintly in the dark, refusing to go out. Perhaps the universe will never truly die. Perhaps it will only sleep waiting for a new fluctuation, a new spark in the endless vacuum, another beginning rising quietly from the ashes of stillness. Because everything that ends leaves a trace. Every silence holds a resonance. Every darkness contains the memory of light. And if that's true, then nothing is ever lost. Not stars, not galaxies, not you. So close your eyes tonight and imagine the last horizon, a soft, endless calm spreading across the cosmos. No sound, no sorrow, only peace. The universe has told its story. And now it rests, a dream still echoing somewhere in the infinite. You've traveled far tonight, through galaxies that form too soon, black holes that sing without sound, and worlds that rain molten metal. You've watched light bend and space unravel. You've seen the universe forget itself, and yet you're still here, breathing, listening, awake inside a body made of stardust and memory. It's strange, isn't it? That after wandering through 13 billion years of creation, the most extraordinary thing we've found is simply the act of being right here, right now. We talk about the universe as something out there, vast, unreachable, eternal. But it's not separate from you. It's inside you. Every atom in your body was once part of a star's burning heart. Every heartbeat echoes the rhythm of cosmic expansion. Every thought you have is electricity borrowed from the same magnetic web that holds galaxies together. The universe is not just your home, it is your reflection. And perhaps that's the final secret, hidden beneath all this wonder and chaos, that to look outward is also to look inward. The galaxies, the comets, the red dots and dying stars, they are not just stories of what exists beyond us. They are metaphors for what we carry within. The stars collapse and are reborn. So do we. worlds form from ruin, so do we. Even light stretched thin across eternity never truly stops moving, and neither do we. You are not too small for the cosmos. You are how the cosmos learns to feel. James Webb can see back to the dawn of time, but it cannot see what you can, the warmth of a touch, the ache of memory, the fragile miracle of consciousness that looks at the night sky and whispers, "Thank you." The universe does not need to hear you. It already knows. You are the way it listens to itself. So let the vastness comfort you, not frighten you. Let it remind you that everything changes, but nothing is wasted. That endings are beginnings in disguise. And when the world feels too heavy, when light bends and time frays and meaning seems to dissolve, remember this. The stars you see are already gone, and still they shine. That's enough reason to keep glowing even in the dark. Hello again, dreamer. You've reached the end of tonight's journey. You've drifted through galaxies and theories, through heat and silence, through wonder and the unknown. And now it's time to rest. Let the noise of the day fade. Let your breath become slow, like the turning of a planet. You don't have to understand everything you've heard. You don't have to hold on to the details. Just remember how it felt to be small and safe and infinite. Somewhere out there, light that left a star billions of years ago is still traveling toward you. And when it arrives, it won't just touch your eyes, but your soul. So close them now. Float. You are not falling, you are orbiting peace. Tomorrow will come, and with it, more mysteries. But for now, there is only this quiet moment, the hum of the cosmos, the rhythm of your breathing, and the soft reminder that you are part of something vast and kind. Thank you for sharing this night with me. Until the next dream, the next discovery, the next heartbeat of the stars. Good night, traveler. And remember,